Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I particularly want to welcome Alders Figueroa Cole and Harrington McKinney and thank them for joining us this morning. I also am delighted to have our new Director of Transportation, Christoph Spieler, here with us. It's literally his first day. First day. And we are all happy to be here to celebrate the completion of our 20 is Plenty program and to join other cities around the nation who have adopted similar programs. Road safety is really important, and everyone deserves to get around our city safely, whether they are walking, biking, taking transit, or driving. And 20 is Plenty is a program that's part of the City of Madison's Vision Zero initiative. The purpose of Vision Zero is to get down to zero traffic fatalities and serious injuries by 2035. And according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, pedestrian versus vehicle crashes are up by 57% between 2013 and 2022. And we are absolutely determined to prevent this trend of increase from happening here in Madison. We started our Vision Zero initiative in 2020, and I'm happy to say that we are seeing progress because of Vision Zero and 20 is Plenty. There were 11 traffic fatalities on city-owned and controlled roads in 2020, and in 2024, there were only 5 traffic fatalities, which is a 55% decrease. We know that there's going to be ups and downs over the years, but we are absolutely headed in the right direction. And when you look at both fatalities and serious injuries, there were 89 in 2020, and that number was reduced to 65 in 2024, which is a 27% decrease. 20 is Plenty is focused on making local residential streets in our neighborhoods safer for all road users by reducing the speed limit from generally 25 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour. We're doing this because we want our families and our friends to be safe in our neighborhoods. And reducing the speed limit helps to keep everyone, whether you're driving, biking, walking, or rolling, safer. I want to thank all of the staff that have worked on this initiative. I want to thank the Transportation Commission for their oversight, the City Council for their support, and I want to thank all Madison residents for respecting the speed limit and for helping to make Madison a safer city. And now you're going to hear from one of the key staff people who helped make 20 is Plenty possible.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Mayor Rhodes Conway. I'm Jeremy Nash. I'm an engineer here at the City of Madison Traffic Engineering. And to start with the timeline of 20 is Plenty, we started phase 1 in 2021. That included 2 different areas across the city, one of them being the Teresa Hammersley neighborhood right behind us, as well as the Tenny Lapham neighborhood. And those neighborhoods were selected by the Transportation Commission. And we did that to have some experience, get to learn a little bit more about the program, how we can better encapsulate citywide implementation. And phase 2 began in late 2024, late last year, and is now completed with the citywide implementation. And these are city streets just in our local residential neighborhoods that we lowered to 20 miles per hour. So other roadways through the neighborhood that emergency response needs to keep a higher speed limit, we did not lower those speed limits. And our purpose is to increase the road safety for all road users, but especially the vulnerable road users. If there were to be a collision between a motor vehicle and a pedestrian, it's that pedestrian who'd be more likely to be fatally injured or severely injured. And there's a lot of technology that protects vehicle drivers, like airbags and that kind of thing. So while we do want to protect all road users, we are very focused on the vulnerable road users, being pedestrians and bicyclists usually. Unfortunately, we've all been touched by traffic safety, and one of my parents ended up passing away in a traffic crash back in 2016. So this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and no one should have to go through that pain and experience that. If there's anything we can be doing as a city to prevent other folks from experiencing that, we absolutely should be doing that. To touch on some of the dangers of speeding, Not only does going at a higher rate of speed increase your crash frequency, so you're more likely to be in a crash, but also increases the crash severity, so that crash is going to be more damaging both to your vehicle and to people. So not just the frequency, but frequency and severity. There's also a greater potential for loss of control and steering, and a decreased field of vision. So as something, if a ball rolls into the roadway, you can see on the side of your vision, you're less able to react to that. And then when you do react to that and start hitting the brake, it takes you a lot longer to come to a full, complete stop. So in our local residential areas, it's where we don't want folks going very fast. That's where we see the greatest mix of pedestrians, vehicles, and bicyclists all sharing that same space. So to get into some statistics on vehicle crashes, or pedestrian versus vehicle crashes, if a vehicle, no one ever plans on being in a crash. Whether you're driving, whether you're walking, you never really plan on it. But if it were to happen, you kind of want that vehicle to be going slow. And if the vehicle is going 20 miles an hour, and I'm a pedestrian walking in the neighborhood, I get hit by a vehicle. If that vehicle is going 20 miles an hour, there's a 13% likelihood of fatality or severe injury to me, the pedestrian. If that vehicle is going 30 miles an hour, it increases to 40% chance. And if the vehicle is going 40 miles an hour, there's a 73% chance that I would be fatally or severely injured. So there is a very big gap between 20 miles an hour and 30 miles an hour. If we can get folks going just a little slower in our neighborhoods and going closer to 20 miles an hour, it really would make a very big difference if there were to be a crash. When looking at the traditional roadway approach to roadway safety versus the Vision Zero approach, traditionally, it's the responsibilities on the individual. When you drive, you take safety into your own hands, and it's on you to be safe on our roads. But the Vision Zero approach takes a safe systems approach where responsibility is shared, and we should be doing all we can to increase road safety for all road users. We're collect data and use our high injury network to use some proven countermeasures to proactively prevent crashes from occurring rather than just reacting to crashes as they occur. And also built into the Vision Zero approach is that humans make mistakes. And when a human makes a mistake, it should not result in someone being fatally injured or severely injured. So we should be doing all we can to protect all road users. As for the installation of the 20 is plenty speed limit signs, we installed them at the entrance neighborhoods, as you can see behind us. So as you turn off of a higher speed roadway and enter into a 20 is plenty neighborhood, you'll see one of those signs. You won't be able to get into the neighborhood without having passed one of those signs. We don't install as many signs within the neighborhood to prevent the over-signing of speed limits. We do have free yard signs available in English, Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin, and Hmong, if anyone would like any to show their support. And we've been hearing a lot of good feedback, and as you're driving around neighborhoods, you see more and more of those signs kind of pop up. It's kind of a quiet reinforcement to you. It's a reminder that I should be going slow in this area. Maybe they have children that are out playing or something along those lines. But it's important to have allow folks to show their support for the program, and we have those available for free if anyone would like any. And finally, I'd like to touch on the crashes. So when looking at the crash rates for the 20 is plenty areas, it's a little hard to look at one year compared to another year, so you want to look at a spread of years. So we implemented phase 1 of 20 is plenty with our two phase 1 areas back in 2021. So I looked at crashes from 2017 to 2020 and compared those to crashes from 2021 to 2024. And we're looking at those two time periods, crashes are down 29% across the city. So that's just across the board on all city roads. And we look specifically, and that's due to a lot of the other efforts of Vision Zero and kind of our team trying to get down to zero traffic fatalities. And when looking specifically at the phase 1 areas, the Tenny Lapin neighborhood crashes reduced by 41%, and the Teresa Hammersley neighborhood right behind me crashes reduced by 44%. So not only do we see that citywide crash reduction by 29%, but we saw an enhanced crash reduction after that within the 20 is plenty phase 1 areas. Thank you, and I will hand it off to Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning. In 2014, New York City lowered their speed limit citywide from 30 to 25 miles per hour. Seattle followed in 2026 by reducing its residential speed limit to 20 miles per hour. Other cities such as Cambridge, Portland, Minneapolis, and New York took similar actions. Vision Zero initiatives have been implemented nationwide in large cities like New York City and small towns like Montclair, New Jersey. In 2021, after being elected to represent District 10, I took a few days off to visit family and friends, and one of those stops was Montclair, New Jersey. My niece, who was 12 at the time, was immediately fitted with a helmet and a bike by my friend's wife, and who then sent her off to the park with her 7-year-old and 5-year-old. I was anxious, but she assured me that the roads were safe. Although it was difficult for me to relax, my niece returned safe and sound about an hour later with the two other children. The next morning, we headed to a coffee shop. As we approached a busy intersection, I looked for the button to signal the drivers that we wanted to cross, but I couldn't find one. In the meantime, drivers who saw us waiting on the curb stopped patiently, allowing us to cross the road safely. There were no flashing lights, only brightly painted pedestrian crossings. I was very confused. I was in a city less than 30 miles from New York City where drivers prioritize pedestrians. That was the moment I recognized the potential of Vision Zero. I immediately sent Tom Lynch and Jan pictures of all the visuals I have found around the way and share all my excitement. Lowering speed limits save lives, and visual cues help remind drivers to regulate their behavior. Flashing lights, painted crosswalks, and speed limit signs contribute to safer streets. Achieving our Vision Zero goals requires cooperation from everyone: drivers, bikers, and pedestrians. Along with infrastructural changes, coming visuals and collaboration with the police department. It also requires various strategies such as complete green streets and transportation demand management. I want to personally thank staff for their hard work on these policies and intentional collaboration. Vision Zero exemplifies what we can accomplish as one city. With traffic engineering, MPD, planning, and the Transportation Commission, the mayor and her office, elected officials, and the community all working together to achieve a common goal: zero traffic deaths, by creating safe, walkable neighborhoods and using data to prioritize needs across the city. Together, we can successfully meet our City Vision Zero goals and create an atmosphere where everyone can travel safely, whether driving, biking, or walking. Thank you for being here today. And next will be Barbara McKinney from District 20. Thank you, Alda.
Good morning, and first I'd like to thank the mayor and Alder Figueroa Cole and staff for inviting me into this space. This is one that I can get on board with. The 20 is plenty. And the reason that I can get on board is that speeding is a number one priority. When I was the alder of District 1, after being elected in 2015, the first call that I received was from a neighbor who reported that a young biker who worked for Epic had been hit and was a fatality in the neighborhood. That has stuck, that has been on my mind ever since that time. It was tragic. She was 20 years old. Her family was affected. The community was affected. The Epic was affected. It was a powerful remembrance of the fact that cars are driving too fast. And so this initiative, 20 is plenty, is something that I can join with staff, with the mayor, with the alder, and saying is that it is a start, and the goal is by 2035. And you heard the stats. The mayor said by 2035 it will be zero. We've got something to work toward. This is a neighborhood. I cannot imagine cars speeding up this street with children crossing, not only children, the elderly crossing. And so this is an initiative that is so very important. And enforcement is next. And so I stand here thoroughly supporting 20 is what is it? 20 is plenty. And I'm asking all of my colleagues and also the neighbors. I got a text this morning and asked, can we have signs? And I said, yes, we have signs. There are plenty signs out there. And so in every neighborhood entrance, we would like to see a 20 is plenty sign. And so thank you very much for this opportunity to say this is really passionate. And so the death occurred in 2015. That still haunts me. And so our goal is that there will be no more fatalities if we get on board. And so thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Alder, and thanks everybody for being here. I believe we can take a few questions if there are any.
I have a question about Vision Zero. You know, it's not necessarily the 20 is plenty, but talking about Willie Street, you see a lot of cars going into businesses there. I'm curious if the Vision Zero, is there any plans to like rebuild Willie Street or any way to make it safer there?
Yeah, staff are taking a good hard look at what the options are on Williamson Street. And obviously, the number one concern, just like with 20 is plenty, is that vehicles are going too fast. And so we need to look not just on Williamson Street, but really on every street in our community at how we can elicit better driver behavior, get folks to slow down and to be more aware of what's going on around them. And that is one of the bedrock ideas underneath both Vision Zero and 20 is plenty. The other thing that I think is really critical is that in each case, staff are looking at the specific situation, they're examining the data, and they're looking to proven techniques that will help us to not just slow down vehicles, but make sure that all users of our streets are going to have a safer environment. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.